It's news time. Information is power. The current, the news headline. Breaking. Court orders Kano State to apologize to Sanusi, pay 10 million naira. Ikechukwu Onochiri writes that the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja on Tuesday ordered Kano State government to tender an apology to the dethroned Emir of Kano, Lamido Sanusi, in 2 national dailies. The court, in a judgment that was delivered by Justice Anwuli Chikere, held that Sanusi's forceful banishment from the state after his dethronement was illegal, unconstitutional, and in gross violation of the fundamental human rights. Consequently, it was awarded damages against Kano State in favor of the deposed emir to the tune of 10 million naira. It will be recalled that Sanusi was deposed as emir by Kaduna State government in March 9, 2020, after he was accused of disloyalty and insubordination. Though the deposed emir was initially banished to local village in Nasarawa State, after his dethronement later he was forcefully moved to Awe town, where he was confined until March 13, 2020, when the court ordered that he should be granted his freedom. Sanusi, who had since accepted his fate as the will of God, however, approached the court to query the legality of his confinement in Nasarawa State. In the suit, he predicated on Section 34, 35, 40, 41, 46 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. The former emir, among other things, prayed the court to restore his right to human dignity, personal liberty, freedom of association, and movement in Nigeria apart from Kano State. Cited as respondent in a suit marked FHC ABJCS 357-2020, were the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of State Service, Attorney General of Kano State, and the Attorney General of the Federation. While adopting his final brief of argument, Sanusi's lawyer Abubakar Mahmood San told the court that his client was not before it to challenge his dethronement. Mahmood said his client was in court over the gross violation of his fundamental rights in relation to the harsh way he was treated after he was deposed by the Kano State government. He said, "My lord, this is not a chieftaincy matter. The applicant is not before this court to challenge the respondent's actions with regard to his removal as the Emir of Kano. By the way, he was bundled to Abuja and banished to a remote location." Mahmood decried that notwithstanding the status of his client in the society, he was subjected to such degrading treatment. He argued that it was clear from the way the former emir was treated that his rights were grossly violated, a situation that led him to seek the intervention of the court. He prayed the court to grant all the relief his client sought in the suit, among which included the declaration of his confinement in Nasarawa State as illegal. However, all the respondents, through their respective lawyers, urged the court to dismiss the suit for want of jurisdiction. Counsel to the IGP, Mr. Victor Okoye, further challenged the competence of the court, noting that the instrument conveying Sanusi's banishment was authored and endorsed by an official of the Kano State government. He therefore urged that the applicant ought to have filed the case before a Kano State High Court. Likewise, counsel to the DG of the DSS, Godwin Agbadua, urged the court to strike out the suit on the grounds that the alleged right violation occurred in Kano, stressing that there is a federal high court in Kano before which Sanusi could seek redress. On his part, the Attorney General of Kano State, who was represented by Musa Mohammed, also challenged the jurisdiction of the court in Abuja to entertain the case. He urged the court to dismiss the suit in its entirety for want of jurisdiction and competence. Meanwhile, reacting to the judgment, the Kano State AG, through the lawyer that represented him in court on Tuesday, Abdul Salam Saleh, said that they would study it properly and decide on the next line of action. "We will look at the judgment critically and consult our client, Kano State government, on whether we will appeal against it or not," Saleh told the newsman. And this is the news about the Emir of Kano, the former Emir of Kano, actually now, that is Lamido Sanusi, who at a point in time, remember last year, while he was, dethroned by the Kano State government of being the emir of the state, that is Kaduna State, and this happened, remember, in March 9, 2020, after he was accused of disloyalty and insubordination. He was deposed as the emir and banished to local village in Nasarawa State after a dethronement. Later, he was forcefully moved to Awe Town, where he was confined until March 13, 2020, before the court ordered that he should be granted his freedom. Sanusi actually accepted his fate as the will of God. However, he approached the court to query the legality of his confinement in Nasarawa State because they told him not to move around, in Kano State again. And it was cited, that people that will respond to this: the Inspector General of Police, the Director General of the State Security Service (DSS), Attorney General of Kano State, and the Attorney General of the Federation. And while adopting his final brief of argument, Abubakar Mahmood Sanusi's lawyer actually told the court that his client, that is Sanusi Lamido, was not even before the court of law to argue about his dethronement or asking for any restatement of any kind. But what he is after is that he should be able to live to his fundamental human right, that is freedom to move anywhere he likes in Nigeria, and prayed to the court that they should grant him his freedom, and also to ensure that all the degrading treatment that his client Sanusi Lamido was given, that they have to actually pay for it. And he prayed that the court should relieve his client, which included the declaration of his confinement in Nasarawa State as illegal. And the respondents, through their respective lawyers, urged the court to dismiss the suit for want of jurisdiction. The counsel to the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Victor Okoye, further challenged the competence of the suit, noting that the instrument conveying Sanusi's banishment was authored and endorsed by an official of the Kano State government. He therefore argued that the applicant ought to have filed the case before a Kano State High Court. Likewise, counsel to the Director General of the DSS, Godin Agbadua, urged the court to strike out the suit on the grounds that the alleged rights violation occurred in Kano, stressing that there is a federal high court in Kano as well, before which Sanusi could seek redress. And on his part, the Attorney General of Kano State, who was represented by Musa Mohammed, also challenged the decision of the court in Abuja to entertain the case. He urged the court to dismiss the suit in its entirety for want of jurisdiction and competence. Meanwhile, the Kano State Attorney General, through the lawyer represented him in court on Tuesday, Abdusalam Saleh, said that they will study it properly and decide on the next line of action. However, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has still, asked Kano State government to tender apology to the dethroned Emir of Kano, Lamido Sanusi, in 2 national dailies. And also, they have awarded Sanusi Lamido damages against Kano State, to the tune of 10 million naira. Thanks for listening.